The air in Murphy's bar was thick with smoke and strange smells. Captain Daeho Kim sat at a corner table, watching aliens from different worlds drink and talk. The Kepler trade station was the biggest trading post in this part of space. Ships from hundreds of planets came here to buy and sell goods. Daeho took a sip of his coffee and looked around the busy bar. His crew would arrive soon. They had been loading supplies for their next trip all day. The Harmony's Dream was not a big ship, but it was his ship. He had been running cargo between planets for 10 years now. A loud crash came from the bar. A tall, green-skinned Vorthak had knocked over his drink. These lizard-like aliens were known for being tough traders, but this one looked scared. His yellow eyes were wide with fear. "The ghost ship," the Vorthak said to his friend. "I saw it with my own eyes 3 days ago." Daeho turned in his chair to listen better. Ghost ships were just stories that spacers told to scare new pilots. Everyone knew that. The Vorthak's friend, another lizard alien, shook his head. "Threshkol, you drink too much. Ghost ships are not real. I tell you the truth." Threshkol hit the table with his clawed hand. "My cargo ship was broken near the Dead Star system. We were going to die in the cold space. Then it came. More. Aliens at nearby tables stopped talking. They turned to listen to Threshkol's story. It was huge," Threshkol continued. "Bigger than any ship I have seen. It glowed with soft light, like stars but gentle. The ship had no hard edges. It looked like it was grown, not built." A Malari alien floated closer to the table. These crystal beings did not have legs, so they moved by floating in the air. The Malari's body made tiny ringing sounds as it moved. "I have heard this story before," the Malari said in a voice like wind chimes. "The ghost ship appears to help ships in trouble, but it never asks for payment, it never talks, it just helps and then disappears." "Yes," Threshkol nodded quickly. "That is exactly what happened. The ghost ship fixed our engines, it gave us food and water, then it was gone. We tried to follow it, but our sensors could not track it." Daeho felt someone sit down next to him. He turned to see Engineer Sojin, Park, one of his crew members. She was young, but very smart with machines. "Captain," Sojin said quietly, "are you listening to this crazy talk?" "Just keeping my ears open," Daeho replied. "You never know what you might learn in a place like this." Navigator Wu Bin Li joined them at the table. He was older than Sojin and had been flying through space for many years. His hair was gray at the sides, and he had scars on his arms from old accidents. "Ghost ships again?" Wu Bin laughed. "Every spacer bar has someone telling ghost ship stories. It is just drunk talk." But Threshkol was not finished with his story. He stood up and spoke louder so everyone could hear. "The ghost ship crew never showed themselves," he said. "But I felt them watching us. They were kind, but also sad. Like they knew something we did not know." A small, furry alien called a Bakari squeaked from a high chair. "My people have stories too. The ghost ship helped a Bakari colony ship last year. The ship was lost in a space storm for weeks. Then the ghost ship came and led them to safety. My cousin saw it near the Spiral Nebula," said another Vorthak. "He said the ship glowed like moonlight on water. Very beautiful, but also scary." Dr. Haiwan Choi walked up to their table. She was the science officer on Daeho's ship. She studied aliens and their cultures. Her dark eyes were bright with interest. "This is fascinating," she said as she sat down. "Different alien species from different parts of space, all telling similar stories about the same mysterious ship. You think there is truth in these stories?" Daeho asked. "Maybe," Dr. Haiwan said. "When many different groups tell the same story, there is usually some real event behind it. The details might change, but the main facts stay the same." Sojin shook her head. "But ghost ships? Ships that appear and disappear? That goes against everything we know about space travel." "Not ghost ships," said a new voice. They all turned to see a very old Malari floating near their table. This alien's crystal body was dark blue, almost black. Old Malari were rare to see. "Not ghosts," the old Malari continued. "But something else. Something that does not follow the rules we know. The old alien's voice was very soft, like music played far away. I have lived for 300 of your human years. I have seen many strange things in space. The ghost ship is real, but it is not what you think it is. What do you mean? Dr. HFY asked. The ship only helps certain people, the old Malari said. It does not help everyone. It chooses who to save. Threshold nodded. Yes. My friend's ship was broken in the same area 1 month later, but the ghost ship did not come for him. He died in the cold space. So what makes some ships special? Wu Bin asked. The old Malari's crystal body flashed with different colors. That is the mystery, but I have noticed something. The ghost ship seems to help one type of being more than others. What type? Daeho asked, though he had a feeling he already knew the answer. Humans, the old Malari said simply. The table went quiet. Around them, the bar continued its noise, but their small group was silent. That cannot be, right, Sojin said. Humans are new to space. We have only been traveling between stars for a few hundred years. And yet, the old Malari said, every story I have heard about the ghost ship helping someone, when you look closely, there were humans involved. Maybe not always the main crew, but humans were there. Dr. HFY pulled out her datapad and started typing quickly. I need to research this. If there is a pattern, I want to find it. Threshold came over to their table. He was holding his drink and looked less scared now. You are humans, yes? He asked. Let me give you advice. The ghost ship appears only to those who are truly lost. Ships that are far from help, with no hope of rescue. Pray to your human gods that you never need to see its gentle gleam. Why? Daeho asked. If it helps people, why should we fear it? Threshold's yellow eyes looked sad. Because if the ghost ship comes for you, it means you are in danger so great that only a miracle can save you. And miracles always come with a price. The old Malari floated away without saying goodbye. Other aliens went back to their own conversations. Soon, the bar returned to its normal noise and activity, but Daeho's crew sat quietly, thinking about what they had heard. It is just stories, Wu Bin said finally, but he did not sound sure. Maybe, Dr. HFY said. But I am going to study every report I can find about this ghost ship. If there is a pattern, I will find it. Sojin finished her drink and stood up. Well, I hope we never meet this ghost ship. I like my miracles to be the kind I can understand. As they left Murphy's bar and walked back to their ship, Daeho looked up at the stars through the station's clear dome. Somewhere out there, in the vast darkness of space, was a ship that helped people in trouble. A ship that seemed to care, especially about humans. He did not know why, but the thought made him feel both hopeful and worried at the same time. The next morning, they would leave Kepler Station and head for the outer rim with a cargo of medical supplies. It was supposed to be a safe, easy trip. Daeho had no way of knowing that in 3 weeks he would learn the truth about the ghost ship. And that truth would change everything he thought he knew about humanity's place in the universe. 3 weeks had passed since the crew of Harmony's Dream left Kepler Station. The trip to the outer rim had been smooth and quiet. Too quiet, Captain Daeho Kim thought as he sat in his captain's chair on the bridge. They were now flying through the Whisper Nebula, a dangerous area of space filled with gas clouds and broken stars. Most ships avoided this place, but it was the fastest route to their destination. The nebula got its name because it made strange sounds on the radio that sounded like whispers. How are our engines, Sojin? Daeho asked through the ship's communication system. Engineer Sojin Park's voice came back from the engine room. Everything looks good, Captain. The new parts we bought at Kepler Station are working perfectly. Navigator Wu Bin Lee looked up from his control panel. We should be through the nebula in 6 hours, then it's clear space all the way to Rim Station. Dr. Hye-Wan Choi was at her science station, studying the strange readings from the nebula. The gas clouds are blocking most of our long-range sensors, she said, but that's normal for this area. Pilot Yuna Han kept the ship moving at a steady speed. She was young but had good hands for flying. The nebula is beautiful, she said. looking out at the swirling purple and blue clouds around them, like swimming through liquid starlight. "Beautiful, but dangerous," said Security Chief Ji-hoon. Damn. He was a big man with serious eyes who always watched for trouble. This nebula has eaten many ships over the years. Chief Mechanic Taimin Seo was working in the lower decks with his team. Communications Officer Dongwoo Jiang sat at his station, listening to the static and whispers that came from the nebula. Medical Officer Sol Ki-bei was in the medical bay, checking their supply of medicine for the colonies they would visit. Everything seemed normal. That was when the trouble started. A loud alarm suddenly filled the bridge. Red lights flashed on every control panel. "What's happening?" Daeho jumped from his chair. So-jin's voice came over the speaker, but it was hard to hear through the static. "Captain, the main engine is overheating. Something is very wrong." Yuna tried to control the ship, but it was shaking badly. "We're losing power to the flight controls." "Engine room report," Daeho shouted into his communicator. "The fusion reactor is going crazy." So-jin's voice was full of worry. "I'm trying to shut it down safely, but the controls are not responding." Woo-bin checked his instruments. "Navigation is failing too. The nebula is interfering with everything." Dr. Haiwan looked at her science readings. "The gas clouds around us have changed. They're giving off some kind of energy that's affecting our systems." Taiman's voice came from the engine room. "Captain, you need to see this. The main power coupling is melting." Daeho ran from the bridge toward the engine room. The ship shook again, throwing him against the wall. Emergency lights came on as the main power failed. In the engine room, So-jin and Taimin were working frantically at the main engine. Sparks flew from broken panels. The air smelled of burning metal and ozone. "How bad is it?" Daeho asked. "Very bad," Taimin said without looking up from his work. "The power coupling that connects the fusion reactor to the engines is completely burned out. We also lost the backup power system." So-jin wiped sweat from her face. "We need new parts to fix this, parts we don't have on the ship. Can we make repairs with what we have?" "No, Captain," So-jin shook her head. "We need a complete power coupling assembly, and we need it soon, or the fusion reactor will shut down completely." Daeho felt cold fear in his stomach. "How long do we have?" "Maybe 3 days before life support fails," Taimin said. 4 days at most." Daeho returned to the bridge. The crew looked at him with worried faces. "Give me the bad news," Woo-bin said. "The engine is dead." "We're drifting," Daeho said. "We have maybe 4 days of life support left." "Can we call for help?" asked Dongwoo. "The nebula is blocking our communications," Dr. Haiwan said. "And we're too far from any trade routes, no one will hear us." Yuna checked her flight controls. "We're drifting toward a group of dead stars. If we can't fix the engines, we'll fall into one of them." "How long until we reach the dead stars?" Daeho asked. "At our current speed, about 1 week," Yuna said. "But we'll run out of air first." The bridge went quiet. Everyone understood what this meant. They were going to die in the cold, empty space of the Whisper Nebula. "There has to be something we can do," said Ji-hoon. So-jin's voice came over the speaker from the engine room. "I'm trying everything I can think of, but without the right parts, there's nothing I can do." Dr. Haiwan was studying her instruments. "The energy from the nebula is getting stronger. It's like something is charging up the gas clouds around us." "What does that mean?" Daeho asked. "I don't know. I've never seen readings like this before." On the second day, things got worse. The ship's heating system started to fail. The crew put on their warmest clothes, but the cold was getting through the walls. Sulki came to the bridge with a medical report. "The cold is affecting everyone. We need to stay warm, or we'll get sick very quickly." Taimin and So-jin worked without stopping, but they could not fix the engine. They tried to build new parts from old ones, but nothing worked. "We need a miracle," So-jin said when she came to the bridge on the third day. Her face was tired, and her hands were dirty from working on the engine. "Miracles don't happen in space," Woo-bin said sadly. But Dr. Haiwan was looking at her science instruments with confusion. "Something strange is happening. The energy readings from the nebula are changing again." "What kind of changes?" Daeho asked. It's like something very big is moving through the gas clouds. Something huge. Dongwu suddenly sat up straight at his communication station. "Captain, I'm getting something on the sensors." "What is it?" "I don't know. It's big. Very big. And it's coming toward us." Yuna tried to see through the nebula clouds, but the purple and blue gas was too thick. "I can't see anything out there." "The energy readings are going crazy," Dr. Haiwan said. "Whatever it is, it's giving off more power than a small star." Ji-hoon checked the ship's weapons. They were small guns meant for fighting pirates, not for battle with unknown ships. "Should I power up our weapons?" "With what power?" Daeho asked. "We barely have enough energy to keep the lights on." The something in the nebula was getting closer. The ship's instruments showed it was enormous, much bigger than any ship they had ever seen. "Captain," Yuna said in a quiet voice, "look outside." Through the front window of the bridge, they could see a soft light growing brighter in the purple nebula clouds. It was not the harsh light of a star or the bright light of a ship's engines. It was gentle, like moonlight. "What is that?" Dongwu asked. The light got brighter and brighter. Soon they could see the shape of something moving through the gas clouds. It was huge and had a strange, flowing shape that did not look like any ship they knew. Dr. Haiwan checked her readings again. "The energy signature is unlike anything in our databases. It's not fusion power or antimatter. It's something completely different." The shape in the nebula came closer. The gentle light grew stronger, pushing away the purple and blue gas clouds like a soft wind. Then they saw it clearly. It was a ship, but unlike any ship that had ever been built. It was enormous, easily 10 times the size of their cargo hauler. The hull was smooth and curved like it had been grown instead of built. Soft light moved across its surface in slow, beautiful patterns. "Is that?" Wubin started to say. "The ghost ship," Daeho finished. The mysterious vessel moved with impossible grace through the nebula. It had no visible engines, no weapons, no communication arrays. Just smooth, flowing curves that glowed with gentle light. "It's beautiful," Yuna whispered. "It's impossible," Sojin said from the engine room. "No ship can be built like that." The ghost ship moved closer to Harmony's dream. It was so big that it blocked out the stars behind it. But instead of feeling afraid, the crew felt strangely calm. "Are we going to die now?" asked Dongwu. "I don't think so," Dr. Haiwan said, watching her instruments. "The energy from that ship is not hostile. It feels peaceful." The ghost ship stopped moving when it was very close to their small cargo ship. The gentle light from its hull made their bridge glow with soft colors. "Try to communicate with them," Daeho told Dongwu. "I'm trying all frequencies," Dongwu said. "But there's no response. It's like they're not listening or they can't hear us. Maybe they communicate in a different way," Dr. Haiwan suggested. They waited, watching the ghost ship and wondering what would happen next. The stories from Murphy's bar seemed like they were from another life. Now they were face to face with the legend itself. And deep down, each member of the crew felt the same thing. They were no longer alone in the cold, empty nebula. Something had come to help them. The question was, what price would they have to pay for that help? The ghost ship hung in space like a glowing dream. Captain Daeho Kim and his crew watched through the bridge windows as the massive vessel stayed perfectly still next to their broken ship. The gentle light from its hull made everything inside, Harmony's dream glow with soft blue and green colors. "It's been 10 minutes, said Navigator Wubin Lee. "Why isn't it doing anything?" "Maybe it's studying us," Dr. Haiwan Choi suggested. She was watching her science instruments, but the readings made no sense. "The energy patterns keep changing like it's thinking." Communications Officer Dongwu Jiang tried his radio again. "Still no response on any frequency. But I'm getting strange signals from the ship. They sound almost like music." Pilot Yuna Han kept her hands on the flight controls even though their engines were dead. "Should we do something? Wave at them? Flash our lights?" Security Chief Ji-hoon Nam stood ready at the weapons station. "Captain, I don't like this. That ship could destroy us in seconds if it wanted to." It could have destroyed us already, Daeho said. But it didn't. The story said the ghost ship helps people. Maybe we should trust it. Suddenly, something changed. The light patterns on the ghost ship's hull began to move faster. Bright streams of light started to flow toward the front of the mysterious vessel. Something's happening, Dr. Haiwan said, watching her instruments carefully. Then they saw it. Thin beams of light like golden threads began to stretch out from the ghost ship toward Harmony's dream. The beams moved slowly, gently, like fingers reaching out to touch something precious. Those lights are coming right at us, Yuna said. Should I raise shields? Ji-hoon asked. We don't have power for shields, Wu Bin reminded him. The first beam of light touched the hull of their ship. The crew waited for alarms, for explosions, for something terrible to happen. But nothing bad occurred. Instead, the ship's emergency lights suddenly got brighter. That's impossible, Engineer Sojin Park's voice came from the engine room. Our power systems are dead. How are the lights getting brighter? More beams of light touched their ship. Each time a new beam made contact, something good happened. The heating system came back on. The air recycling system started working better. The gravity plates that kept them walking normally began to hum with power. Captain. Sojin's voice was full of excitement. You need to see this. The engine room is full of light. Daeho ran from the bridge to the engine room. What he saw there made him stop and stare. The entire room was filled with soft golden light that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. The light was warm and gentle like sunlight on a spring morning. Sojin and Chief Mechanic Taemin Seo were standing next to the broken fusion reactor. Their faces were bright with wonder. Look at this, Captain, Taemin said, pointing at the melted power coupling. The light is fixing it. Daeho watched in amazement as the twisted metal slowly straightened itself. The burned and melted parts began to look new again. It was like watching a broken flower bloom backward in time. How is this possible? Daeho asked. I don't know, Sojin said. The light is doing things to our ship that should be impossible. It's not just fixing the damage. It's making everything better than it was before. Back on the bridge, Dr. Haiwan was studying her instruments with growing excitement. The energy from those light beams is incredible. It's not just repairing our systems, it's improving them. What do you mean? Wu Bin asked. Our sensors are working better than they ever have. The computer systems are running faster. Even our life support is cleaner and more efficient. Medical Officer Sulki Bey came to the bridge with a surprised expression on her face. Captain, I need to report something strange. The medical scanners show that everyone on the ship is healthier than before. Healthier how? The stress in our bodies is gone. Small injuries are healing faster. Even old scars are fading. Whatever that light is doing, it's good for human bodies. More beams of light continued to touch their ship. Through the windows, they could see the beams passing right through the metal hull like it wasn't there. But instead of damaging anything, the light was healing everything it touched. Look outside, Yuna said softly. Through the observation deck windows, they could see something amazing. Small shapes were moving around their ship. At first they looked like tiny spacecraft, but as they got closer, the crew realized they were something else entirely. Those aren't ships, Dr. Haiwan said in a whisper. Those are beings made of light. The light beings moved around Harmony's, dreamlike glowing angels. They were beautiful and graceful, flowing through space without any need for engines or air. Some were bright white, others were soft gold, and a few glowed with gentle blue light. They're working on our hull, Taemin said, pointing at the beings outside. They're fixing the microfractures and weak spots. One of the light beings came very close to the observation window. It had no face that they could see, but somehow it felt like it was looking at them with kindness. The being raised what might have been a hand and pressed it against the window. Yuna walked up to the window and put her own hand against the glass, matching the light being's gesture. For a moment, human and light being touched through the transparent barrier. I can feel something, Yuna said with tears in her eyes. It's like like being hugged by someone who loves you very much. They care about us, Sulki said. I can sense it somehow. These beings want to help us. Sojin's voice came over the communicator with excitement. Captain, the engines are working. Not just working, they're better than new. How much better? We have twice as much power as before. The efficiency is incredible. And, Captain, I think they gave us new technology. There are systems here now that I don't understand, but they're definitely helping our ship. Dr. Haiwan was studying her instruments with growing amazement. The ghost ship has moved us, she announced. Moved us where? Daeho asked. We're no longer drifting toward the dead stars. Somehow, while we were watching the light beings work, the ghost ship moved our entire ship to a safe orbit around a healthy star. Wubin checked his navigation systems. She's right. We're in a stable orbit in the Kepler 442 system. That's 3 light-years from where we were. They moved us 3 light-years in a few minutes, Dongwu asked. That's impossible. Everything about this is impossible, Ji-hoon said. But it's happening. The light beings finished their work on the outside of the ship. One by one, they flowed back toward the ghost ship like streams of golden water returning to a lake. The beams of light that had been touching Harmony's dream also began to fade away. Wait, Yuna called out, pressing her face against the window. Don't go! But the light beings were already returning to their mysterious vessel. As the last beam of light disconnected from their ship, all the systems on Harmony's dream hummed, with perfect efficiency. All systems are working perfectly, Sojin reported from the engine room. Better than perfectly. Captain, our ship is now more advanced than anything humans have ever built. The ghost ship began to move away from them. Its gentle glow started to fade as it prepared to disappear back into the depths of space. Try to communicate with them one more time, Daeho told Dongwu. I'm trying every frequency, every language. In our database, Dongwu said. But they're not responding. Dr. Haiwan was studying the energy readings from the departing ghost ship. Wait, I'm getting something. Not words, but feelings, emotions. What kind of emotions? Love, protection, hope. Dr. Haiwan looked up from her instruments with wonder in her eyes. They love us, Captain. Whoever they are, they care about humans. The ghost ship was almost gone now, fading into the star-filled darkness like a dream at dawn. But before it disappeared completely, something happened that would stay with the crew forever. For just a moment, they felt it in their minds, not words, but understanding. The beings on the ghost ship were saying goodbye, and they were saying something else too. They were saying, "We will always watch over you." Then the ghost ship was gone, as if it had never been there at all. But Harmony's dream remained, floating in safe space with engines that hummed with impossible technology, and a crew that had been touched by something wonderful and mysterious. Did that really happen? Yuna asked softly. Daeho looked around, at his crew. Their faces were bright with hope and wonder. Outside, the stars shone peacefully in the darkness. Yes, he said. It really happened. And now we have to figure out what it means. 3 hours had passed since the ghost ship disappeared. Captain Daeho Kim stood on the bridge of Harmony's dream, watching his crew work with their improved systems. Everything on the ship was running perfectly, but questions filled his mind. Dr. Haiwan, he said to the science officer, what have you learned from the scans of our ship? Dr. Heewon Choi looked up from her instruments. Her face was serious but excited. Captain, I need to show you something important, but it's going to be hard to believe. After what we just saw, I think I can believe anything. Come look at this. Dr. Heewon pointed to her screen. I've been studying the energy patterns that the ghost ship left in our systems. The patterns are not random. They follow a very specific design. Engineer So-Jin Park joined them on the bridge. She had been working in the engine room, trying to understand the new technology that had been added to their ship. Captain, So-Jin said, the new systems in our engine room are incredible. They use energy in ways that shouldn't be possible, but there's something strange about them. What do you mean? The technology seems to know how humans think. The control panels are designed perfectly for human hands. The systems respond to human brain patterns. It's like this technology was made specifically for our species. Dr. Haiwan nodded. That matches what I've found. Look at these energy patterns. She put a complex diagram on the main screen. I compared them to every known alien technology in our database. They don't match anything. So the ghost ship uses technology we've never seen before? Asked Navigator Wu Bin Li. Not exactly, Dr. Haiwan said. I ran the patterns through our theoretical physics database. The energy signatures match something very specific. What? They match theoretical models of evolved human consciousness. The bridge went quiet. Everyone stared at Dr. Haiwan. What does that mean? Asked pilot Yuna Han. It means, Dr. Haiwan said slowly, that the energy patterns from the ghost ship are similar to what human brains might look like if they evolved for thousands of years into pure energy. Communications officer Dongwu Jiang looked confused. Are you saying the ghost ship is human? I'm saying the beings on that ship might have started as humans, a very long time ago. Captain Dai-Ho felt something cold in his stomach. How long ago? Based on the energy evolution patterns, maybe 10,000 years, maybe more. Chief Mechanic Taemin Seo came to the bridge from the engine room. Captain, I found something else strange. Hidden in the new technology is a message, but it's not written in words. What kind of message? Pictures, memories maybe. When I touched one of the new control panels, I saw things in my mind. Security Chief Ji-Hoon Nam looked worried. What kind of things? I saw Earth, Taemin said. But not the Earth we know. I saw it burning, dying, and I saw humans leaving the planet in great ships, looking for new homes among the stars. Dr. Haiwan was typing quickly on her computer. If Taemin is right, then the ghost ship might contain humans from our far future. Humans who escaped some great disaster and evolved beyond physical bodies. That's impossible, Sojin said. Humans can't become pure energy. Maybe not yet, Dr. Haiwan replied, but in thousands of years, who knows what we might become? Suddenly, Dongwu sat up straight at his communication station. Captain, I'm receiving something. From where? I don't know, it's not coming. Through our radio. It's coming directly into our computers and it's beautiful. The main screen filled with images, not pictures but something deeper. The crew could see and feel the images as if they were memories from their own lives. They saw Earth as it was thousands of years ago, green and blue and beautiful. They saw the first human ships flying to other stars. They saw colonies being built on distant planets. Then they saw the disaster. Something terrible happened to Earth. The images were not clear, but they showed the planet becoming dark and cold. They saw millions of humans fleeing in massive ships, looking for safety among the stars, but the story didn't end there. The images showed what happened to those humans over thousands of years. Some stayed in physical bodies and built new civilizations. Others chose a different path. Look at this, Yuna whispered. The images showed humans learning to transfer their minds into energy. At first, it was just a way to explore space without needing air or food. But over time, these energy humans became something new, something wonderful. They became beings of pure thought and emotion, able to travel anywhere in the universe instantly. They could exist in the cold vacuum of space or in the heart of a star. They had become immortal. But they had also become something else. They had become protectors, their guardians, Dr. Haiwan said, understanding flooding her voice. These evolved humans traveled through space and time, protecting their ancestors. Ancestors? Ji-Hoon asked. Us, Dai-Ho said quietly. We're their ancestors, the humans who stayed in physical bodies. The images continued. They showed the energy humans watching over human colonies across the galaxy. They showed them helping human ships in trouble, always in secret, always without asking for thanks. Medical Officer Sul-Ki Bay came to the bridge. Captain, I felt something strange in the medical bay, like memories that weren't mine. What did you see? I saw the energy humans making a choice. They decided they could not interfere directly with history. If they changed too much, they might prevent their own existence. So they made rules for themselves. What kind of rules? They could only help humans who were truly lost. Humans who would die without help. And they could only help in ways that wouldn't change the big picture of history. More images filled the screen. The crew saw the ghost ship. Not just one ship, but hundreds of them. An entire fleet of evolved humans, watching over their physical descendants from the shadows. There are more of them, Wu Bin said in amazement. Many, more, Dr. Haiwan agreed. They're everywhere humans travel in space, always watching, always ready to help when we need them most. The images showed something else. The evolved humans were not just protecting current humanity. They were guiding human development, making sure that someday some humans would follow the same path and become energy beings themselves. It's a cycle, Sojin said, understanding. Some humans become energy beings. Those energy beings protect the physical humans. Some of those physical humans eventually become energy beings too. And the cycle continues forever, Tamian added. Q. Images began to fade, but before they disappeared completely, the crew felt something new in their minds. Not pictures this time, but knowledge. Pure understanding. They learned that the ghost ship had been following their cargo route for weeks, waiting for them to need help. The engine failure was not an accident. The strange energy in the whisper, nebula, had been caused by the ghost ship preparing to reveal itself. They learned that every human who had ever been saved by the ghost ship carried a piece of advanced technology back to human civilization. Slowly, carefully, the energy humans were helping their ancestors develop the science that would eventually allow some humans to transcend physical existence. They learned that this was not the first time the ghost ship had saved Harmony's dream. In other timelines, other possibilities, the crew had died in the nebula. But the energy humans had reached across time itself to save them, creating a new timeline where they survived. Time travel, Dr. Haiwan whispered. They can move through time as easily as we move through space. The knowledge faded, leaving the crew sitting in amazed silence. They now understood the truth about the ghost ship, about their mysterious rescuers, and about humanity's incredible future. So we were saved by our own descendants, Daeho said finally. Not just descendants, Dr. Haiwan corrected. We were saved by what we can become, the best parts of humanity, evolved and perfected over thousands of years. The parts that protect and care for others, Sulki added. The parts that never give up hope, Yuna said. Outside the bridge windows, the stars shone peacefully. Somewhere, among those stars, other human ships were being watched over by their evolved descendants. The cycle of protection and love continued across time and space, and the crew of Harmony's dream now knew they were part of something much bigger than themselves. They were part of humanity's long journey from the stars to something even greater. The crew of Harmony's dream sat in quiet thought for a long time after the visions ended. The truth about the ghost ship was bigger than anything they had ever imagined. Captain Daeho Kim looked around at his crew and saw the same wonder and confusion in their faces that he felt in his heart. What do we do now? Asked pilot Yuna Han. How do we live with this knowledge? We continue our mission, Daeho said. We deliver our medical supplies to the colonies. We do our job. But everything is different now, said Engineer Sojin Park. We know that our descendants are watching over us. We know that humans have an incredible future waiting for us. Dr. Haiwan Choi was still studying her instruments. Captain, there's something else. Before the ghost ship left, it gave us one final gift. What kind of gift? Dr. Haiwan held up a small device that glowed with soft light. It was about the size of her hand and felt warm to the touch. I found this in the science lab after the visions ended. It's some kind of beacon. A beacon for what? I think it's a way for the energy humans to find us if we're ever in terrible trouble again. But it's not something we can use to call them. It only works if we really need help and have no other choice. Security Chief Ji-hoon Nam looked worried. Should we tell people about this, about what we learned? That's the big question, Daeho said. Do we share this knowledge with humanity, or do we keep it secret? Navigator Wubin Lee shook his head. If we tell everyone, it could change how humans develop. Maybe that would prevent our descendants from becoming the energy beings who saved us. A time paradox, Dr. Haiwan agreed. If we change history too much, we might destroy the future we saw. Communications Officer Dongwu Jiang was listening to space radio signals. Captain, I'm picking up normal space traffic. We're close to the shipping lanes now. How long until we reach Rim Station? Daeho asked. 6 hours, said Yuna. Chief Mechanic Taemin Seo came to the bridge from the engine room. Captain, I've been thinking about the new technology in our ship. It's far beyond anything humans have now. If scientists study it, they might learn things that are supposed to come later. So we have to be careful about what we show people, Sojin said. Medical Officer Sulki Bey joined the discussion. The medical scans of our crew will also show unusual things. We're all healthier than we should be after what happened to us. Daeho made a decision. We keep the full truth secret for now. We'll tell people that our ship broke down and we were rescued by an unknown vessel. We won't mention that the rescuers were our own descendants. What about the beacon? Dr. Haiwan asked. We keep it safe, and we keep the knowledge of what it is to ourselves. As Harmony's Dream flew toward Rim Station, the crew worked together to prepare their official report. They would say their ship had engine trouble in the Whisper Nebula. They would say an unknown ship helped them with repairs and then left. They would not mention the light beings, the visions, or the truth about humanity's future. It feels wrong to lie, Yuna said. We're not lying, Daeho replied. We're just not telling the whole truth. Sometimes that's necessary to protect something important. 6 hours later, they arrived at Rim Station. It was a small space station that served the outer colonies. The station master, an older man named Captain Park, welcomed them over the radio. Harmony's Dream. We were starting to worry about you. You're 3 days late. We had engine trouble in the Whisper Nebula, Daeho replied. But we're fine now. The Whisper Nebula? That's dangerous space. You're lucky to be alive. Yes, Daeho said quietly. We're very lucky. They docked with Rim Station and began unloading their medical supplies. The station workers were happy to see them. The medicines would save many lives in the outer colonies. While they worked, other ships arrived at the station. Daeho listened to the radio chatter between pilots and heard something that made him stop and think. Did you hear about the cargo ship that got lost near Vega Station? One pilot was saying. What happened? Another pilot asked. Engine failure in empty space. They were drifting for a week with no hope of rescue. Then some mystery ship showed up and fixed their engines. The rescue ship disappeared before they could say thank you. Dr. Haiwan heard this too. She came over to Daeho. Captain, that sounds familiar. Yes, it does. Over the next few days, as they made deliveries to different colonies, they heard more stories. A human research ship lost in an asteroid field was guided to safety by a glowing vessel. A human colony ship with failing life support was mysteriously resupplied in deep space. In every story, the rescue ship was described the same way. Huge, glowing, and disappearing without explanation. They're everywhere, Sojin said one evening as they sat in the ship's common area. Our descendants are helping humans all across the galaxy. And only humans, Wubin added. Just like the aliens at Murphy's Bar said. It makes sense now, Dr. Haiwan said. The energy beings can only help their own species without creating time paradoxes. They care about other aliens, but they can't interfere with their development. So humans are special because we have guardians watching over us, Sulki said. We're special because we become the guardians, Taemin corrected. Someday, some of us will evolve into energy beings and protect our own ancestors. A month later, they returned to Kepler Station. The familiar sights and sounds of the big trading post welcomed them home. They went to Murphy's Bar where their adventure had started. The same aliens were there telling the same stories about the ghost ship. But now Daeho and his crew listened with new understanding. The ghost ship saved another human ship last week, said Threshold, the Vorthak merchant, near the Spiral Nebula. It appeared, fixed their broken systems, and vanished. "Always humans," said the old Milari. "The ghost ship only helps humans." "Why do you think that is?" asked a young Bakari. The old Milari's crystal body flashed with colors. "Perhaps humans are meant for something special. Perhaps they have a destiny that requires protection." Deho smiled to himself. The old alien was closer to the truth than he knew. Later, in the private captain's cabin on his ship, Deho wrote in his official log, "Personal note. We encountered an unknown vessel in the Whisper Nebula that provided assistance during our engine failure. The vessel used advanced technology and departed without communication. This information is classified at the highest levels for security reasons." But he also wrote a second secret report. This one contained the full truth about what they had experienced. He sealed it in a special container and hid it in the ship's emergency supplies. "Why are you writing that?" Dr. Haiwan asked. "For the future," Deho said. "Someday humanity will be ready for this knowledge. When that time comes, this record will be here." "How will we know when that time comes?" "When humans start to understand that our greatest strength is not our ability to fight or conquer, but our ability to protect and care for others. When we learn that love and compassion are more powerful than any weapon." As they prepared to leave Kepler Station for their next cargo run, So-Jin made an interesting discovery in the engine room. "Captain," she called over the communicator, "the beacon that Dr. Haiwan found, it's not the only gift they left us." "What do you mean?" "I found hidden upgrades throughout our ship. They're subtle, but they're there. Our engines are more efficient. Our sensors are more sensitive. Our life support is cleaner. They made our ship better." "Yes, but in ways that look like normal improvements. If anyone studies our ship, they'll think we just did good maintenance work." Dr. Haiwan came to the engine room. "That's very clever. They're helping us without making it obvious that we have advanced technology. It means we can help other humans too," Taemin realized. "Our ship is safer and more reliable now. We can rescue people who might otherwise die in space. We become protectors too," Yuna said with a smile, "in our own small way." That night, as Harmony's dream flew through the star-filled darkness toward their next destination, Deho stood on the observation deck and looked out at the universe. Somewhere among those distant stars, their evolved descendants were watching over other human ships. The cycle of protection and love continued. "We're not alone," So-Jin said, joining him at the window. "No," Deho agreed. "We never were. We're being watched over by the best of what we can become." And in the gentle light of distant stars, he thought he could see the soft glow of ghost ships moving silently through space, carrying humanity's love across time itself. The legend would continue. Other human crews would encounter the ghost ship and be saved by their own descendants. And someday, when humanity was ready, some would choose to join the Eternal Guardians, becoming beacons of hope for those who came after them. The cycle would never end, because love never ends. And that, Deho realized, was the most human thing of all.